tell fans? Should that tell them that they really like their minor leaguers, don't want to give them up, or they don't think as highly about their team this year because of where the Astros and the Yankees are?
That's a great question, and I've been thinking a lot about that. And on the surface, my first instinct is to say that it's more about how they're viewing their minor leaguers, and that whether that's relative to the market or relative to the opportunities that are at hand, that we can debate a little bit. But clearly last year when they made the move for Barrios with Austin Martin, Simeon Woods Richardson, they felt comfortable enough in surrendering those prospects to make that deal happen. And that they haven't done that yet. I mean, and it could still happen. So I don't want to let's not jump to conclusions. There's still, 8 more hours before, or 7.5 more hours before we're all said and done here. But it could be that they simply feel much more strongly about their current group of prospects, or it could also be reflective of maybe a divergence of opinion between how they value their prospects and how other teams are valuing their prospects. So, I would say that answer is probably a little of everything there, but you can't be too reactionary in this period. You're saying, okay, well, the Yankees are this and, the Astros are this and we're this, so we're not going to do anything. You've got to try to address the holes that you have in your team as best you can and maximize the opportunity for you. And if you're kind of waving a white flag because the Yankees are really good this year, well, you probably shouldn't be running a team.
Knowing who's off the board, knowing who we're led to believe is still on the board, what would you like to see from Ross? And give me some names.
Ian Happ, Joe Jimenez, David Bednar,
some combination.
Gregory Soto. Two of those plus Ian Happ.
I'd be on.
Hey, like that.
That makes sense.
I'm not sure they need a starter. I think they need a guy or two guys that once the 6th inning rolls around, it's sort of got to look like Detroit looks.
Yep.
Where I get it. Like Gregory Soto is sort of hit and miss. He's a hard thrower. I like that, a hard thrower. I can. If you're Pete Walker, you sort of like the way maybe do something different with the slider. His slider's been getting hammered. That's sort of the thing. But the sinker and the four-seamer, that plays, bud. That's a hundo. That plays. He's left-handed. Element of surprise. American League East. It's like you said. You're trying to win these games to get in the playoffs. You're not the Yankees. You can afford to get a guy that you may have to back off a little bit just so he's really good in October and is good against the Astros.
And the Jays already. I didn't even mention Manoah. The Jays already have enough. They already have enough question marks around their starting pitching.
They got enough to give you 5 innings.
Now, if they could get Luis Castillo or Pablo Lopez, okay, I'm okay with that.
I'm not sure Pablo Lopez is even on the market.
But the point is, that's the type of pitcher. I want a starting pitcher in here. If he is going to be an elite starting pitcher, he's got to be elite. I can't bring this dude in and then say, well, I got to back him off now. I got to give him an extra day. I'm already doing that with Manoah. And I already don't know what I'm getting with Kikuchi. So, yeah, if you can get me a guy with as few question marks around him as possible as a starter, I'm okay with that. But bottom line is, I cannot put this any more politely. I need relievers in here that allow me to, 1, get rid of Trevor Richards, 2, ensure that Tim Meza's dropped down in the order, 3, allows me not to have to use Adam Simber every day.
Abuse him.
And,
no more.
And 4 gives me somebody better, more consistent than Jimmy Garcia to set up Jordan Romano, or give me a situation where I can have maybe twin closers. And on one day I go with Romano, and another day I go with Soto.
Maybe you could use Romano in an 8th inning.
Or maybe use him in an 8th inning.
Middle of the order, that kind of thing. Well, at least you have options.
Yeah.
And you're not throwing a bunch of names against the wall, and hopefully you're picking the right one. Yeah, I'm with you. They need at least 2 arms in the bullpen, and maybe Ian Happ. Ian Happ, for me, is a plus.
Yes.
Don't have to have him, but you'd like to have him.
About this 3 weeks ago, about Noah Syndergaard and the Blue Jays. We understand the Phillies are in there as well. Noah Syndergaard is a rental. It would make sense, providing I wouldn't imagine you have to give much up for him. He's a guy that, start during the regular season, and then when the postseason comes around, you see where he is, and then you make a call.
I guess the velocities went down for him. I'm not sure how much he plays in the American League East with throwing 94, 95. For me, he has to throw 98, 99 for that to be working. But again, he's depth. That's what that would give you. You'd I guess rather use him than a Max Castillo or anybody else in your minor league system. So it hides that.
The Jays have no starters in the minor league system.
None.
Like, they have done a lousy job of acquiring depth. They've relied on the Anthony Kays and the Thomas Hatches. They're just not good enough. They haven't been good enough for 2 years. They're not good enough now. So there's very little depth in that system other than Max Castillo. And, they've got guys like Zulueta who throw hard, and you could see them maybe, coming out of the bullpen, but
not in a championship season.
You're not bringing Ricky Tiedemann up this year.
No.
You're not bringing Ricky Tiedemann
up. Rodon thing makes a little sense. Depends on what you'd have to give up for him to get him. The Giants want to give him up. That's another question. So there's options. But for me, the glaring big giant hole for the Blue Jays is bullpen. And power bullpen, and no brainers. The manager and the pitching coach now are trying to line it up to where they're bringing in the right guy, hoping that guy can get a ground ball hit to a defender.
Yeah,
I mean, it's hard to do all the time. Like occasionally, you're going to pick the wrong guy. They need no brainers, and right now they don't have those. And hopefully, Ross gives that to him.
Noah Syndergaard, by the way, is 5-8 with an ERA of 3.83.
You can take it or leave it.
64 strikeouts, 22 walks. He's given up 9 home runs. He's I'm just looking at his game by game breakdown: 15, 18, 24 strikeouts in the last 4 starts. And the reason I mention that is one of the things Alex Anthopoulos talked about last year is, when they went out and acquired guys, he wanted to acquire guys who were playing or pitching well.
What you said yesterday, hit the ground running.
Yeah, you that's what you want. You're bringing them in to win right now. And one of the things Alex and the Braves did last year is they looked at these guys and said, okay, if it was the off season, we could say, boy, if we get this guy in spring training and we work with him, and maybe in May he's a good guy. No,
you don't need that.
You need a guy who's going to come in and hit the ground running. If you are
Noah is a pitcher
Jays.
Now. I'm not sure that's going to work this time of the year, where you had to add and subtract and set guys up. That when he was throwing as hard as he used to throw, he didn't really have to pitch. He could go aim big. Now he's aiming a little smaller. You're setting guys up with secondary pitches. You're pitching behind. Not sure exactly that plays, but again, it gets back to, would you rather have him than somebody else that they have? The answer to that would be yes.
Oh God, yeah.
But for me, anyway, I'd rather have. Right now, they got enough guys, Jeff, that can give you 5 innings. They just don't have the bridging it to who they need to bridge it to finish off games against good teams. And that's what they need. They need more of those, not one, more of those.